Atomic Attraction by Christopher Canwell. Picture a cozy coffee shop, the kind of place you'd walk past without a second thought. But for a young guy named Peter, it becomes the center of his universe. Why? Because she walks in, the woman who makes everything else fade into the background. Beautiful, graceful, and absolutely captivating. So Peter starts showing up every single day, hoping for just one chance to talk to her. He watches from across the room, heart pounding every time she walks by. Deep down, he knows he'll kick himself forever if he doesn't at least try. But here's the thing. Every time he gets close to approaching her, his body betrays him. His throat closes up, words vanish. He's completely frozen by this fear he doesn't even understand. Finally, after torturous weeks of this mental battle, he finds his courage. He spots her adding cinnamon to her cappuccino, walks over, lifts his own coffee cup with a nervous smile, and manages to say, "Hi, I'm Peter." She gives him this tiny, distant smile, the kind that says absolutely nothing. Then she turns around and walks straight out of the coffee shop. No words. No acknowledgement. Nothing. Peter stands there completely crushed, feeling like the floor just opened up beneath him. Am I really that unattractive, he wonders? What did I do wrong? Now hold on to that gut-wrenching feeling for a moment. Because 3 months later, almost the exact same scene unfolds. Same woman, same coffee shop, same cinnamon cappuccino. But this time a different guy approaches her. His name is Paul. He doesn't introduce himself with, "Hi, I'm Paul." He simply leans in, catches her eye, and says one word. "Hey." And everything changes. She looks up, intrigued. There's this quiet confidence in his eyes she can't ignore. He touches her arm lightly, and they start talking. Within minutes, she's laughing, smiling, completely engaged. So here's the million-dollar question. Why? What made Jane shut down Peter but open up to Paul? They both walked up and said something simple, yet one got completely iced out, while the other got an invitation into her world. The answer to that question is what this entire story is about. It comes from a book called Atomic Attraction by Christopher Canwell, a psychologist who spent years decoding the hidden patterns of human connection. This isn't about cheesy pickup lines or manipulation tactics. It's based on over 120 scientific studies that reveal the invisible forces determining who we find attractive. Here's what I can promise you. By the end of our time together, you'll understand exactly what separated Peter from Paul. You'll see that attraction isn't about luck, looks, or how much money you have. It's actually a science. And once you understand how it works, you'll never see yourself or the world around you quite the same way again. So what is this mysterious language of attraction? Well, to crack that code, we first need to unlearn pretty much everything we've been taught about being a nice guy. Think about it. From the time we're kids, we hear the same messages. Be polite, be agreeable, put women on a pedestal. We're basically told that if we're just supportive enough, kind enough, chivalrous enough, women will naturally fall for us. Turns out that's completely backwards. Christopher Canwell argues that this nice guy syndrome actually destroys attraction. Why? Because it screams weakness. When you're constantly trying to please a woman, terrified of offending her, desperately seeking her approval at every turn, you're broadcasting a fundamental lack of self-respect. You're acting subservient, and that's the exact opposite of what triggers attraction. The book opens with this powerful quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson: "Shallow men believe in luck. Strong men believe in cause and effect." Attraction works on cause and effect. It's not random chance. It's about becoming the kind of person who naturally causes attraction. So how do you do that? It starts way before you ever say a word to anyone. It starts with who you are. It begins with your body. Think of your body as a walking billboard. It communicates everything about you before you open your mouth. A guy with a strong, fit physique sends a crystal-clear message. I'm disciplined, I'm dedicated, I'm persistent, and I'm mentally tough. You don't build a great body by accident. A UCLA study found that women don't just rate muscular men as more attractive. they're actually more likely to pursue them for relationships. A strong body reflects a strong mind. This message of strength continues with your appearance. While media sometimes pushes softer, more feminine features as the ideal, most women are actually drawn to masculine traits. And this is where the details really matter. Take your hairstyle. Shorter hair projects masculinity. Longer hair might look good, but it often reads as softer and more feminine. Then there's facial hair. A study in the Journal of Evolution and Human Behavior found that heavy stubble, about 10 days growth, is rated as the most attractive. Why? Because it's a direct, honest signal of testosterone. It communicates maturity, masculinity, and dominance. Think of it like a peacock's feathers, but for men. Even hair loss gets reframed as an opportunity. The book points to a fascinating University of Pennsylvania study showing that men with completely shaved heads were rated as more attractive, more masculine, and more dominant than guys with full heads of hair. The man trying to hide his baldness looks insecure. The guy who owns it and shaves his head transforms himself into a symbol of raw confidence. This whole principle of broadcasting strength extends even to smell. There are certain fragrances scientifically proven to stimulate the female brain. A chemical called hedione, found in colognes like Dior's Eau Sauvage and Acqua di Gio, has been proven to activate the area of a woman's brain that releases sex hormones. But there's something even more powerful. Your body produces a pheromone called androstenedione, derived directly from testosterone. Studies show that exposure to this pheromone makes women more attentive, more aroused, and happier. It literally rewires their brain to be more receptive to you. The book provides a straightforward checklist for naturally boosting your testosterone. Get quality sleep, consume zinc and vitamin D, eat healthy fats, reduce alcohol, lift heavy weights with compound movements like squats and deadlifts, and reduce excess body fat. You're literally changing your chemistry to become more attractive. Once you've built this foundation of physical strength, you need to dress it properly. The book is blunt about this. Clothes matter. They signal status and social intelligence. One study showed how dramatically a woman's willingness to engage with a man changed based solely on his clothing. The same guy was shown in low-status clothes versus high-status clothes. The results were dramatic. Women weren't just more attracted to the well-dressed version. They were more willing to consider him for dates, relationships, even marriage. What counts as high-status clothing? It's simpler than you think. A well-fitting suit, a crisp dress shirt, clothes tailored to your body. It shows you understand social norms and respect yourself enough to present your best self to the world. Color matters too. Studies consistently show that red is rated as the most attractive color for men, followed by black. These colors have symbolized power for centuries. But all these external changes, the physique, the grooming, the clothes, are just the outer layer. They reflect the most important transformation of all, your mindset. This is where the book introduces the critical concept of alpha versus beta male. Forget the stereotypes of chest-thumping gorillas. The author defines it simply. The alpha male consistently chooses strength over weakness. The beta male consistently chooses weakness over strength. That's it. It's a choice you make in every single interaction. Your girlfriend says she wants to break up. The weak response is begging and pleading. The strong response is walking away with dignity. That's the alpha path. A woman doesn't respond to your texts. The weak move is sending more messages, chasing a response. The strong move is backing off and ignoring her until she reaches out. When you're uncertain about what to do, just ask yourself, what's the strongest action I can take right now? This mindset, this commitment to self-respect above everything else, is what builds your sexual market value. It's an invisible score that women constantly read. A man with high sexual market value has options. He's not desperate. He doesn't need any one woman's approval, and that's precisely what makes him magnetic. He's a challenge. So now you've done the internal work. You've built the foundation. You're projecting strength through your body, your style, and your mindset. Now it's time to step into the world and create that initial spark of attraction. The book makes a powerful point. The ability to approach a woman directly in person is one of the rarest and most attractive qualities a man can have today. In our world of endless swiping and texting, the guy who has the confidence to walk up to a woman and express his interest immediately stands out from 99% of other men. Remember the story of Sabrina? She's talking online with a nice guy named Robbie. Great connection. But then, one day on the subway, a complete stranger named Paul walks straight up to her, compliments her dress, and confidently asks for her number. Instantly, her interest in the safe online guy evaporates. Why? Because Paul demonstrated real-world confidence. He took a risk. He made her feel special in a way no text message ever could. But how do you actually approach? You don't need some clever pickup line. In fact, studies show women prefer a simple hi or hello over anything rehearsed or cheesy. The book suggests using an environmental approach. Just comment on something in your shared environment. At the gym, hey, how's your workout going? At the supermarket, excuse me, do you know where the coffee is? The actual words barely matter. They're just an excuse to start talking. Your real communication happens through body language. And this is where most guys are completely blind. The author cites research showing that women initiate up to 90% of all seductions through subtle, non-verbal signals. Men just don't know how to read them. The book breaks down a 5-step process women go through when they're interested. Step 1. Eye contact. She's letting you know she's noticed you. Step 2. Smiling. This is the invitation. She likes what she sees. Step 3. Communication. This is your cue to approach and start talking. Step 4. Preening. This is where she signals attraction, playing with her hair, touching her neck, exposing the underside of her wrist, or breathing more deeply. These are all subconscious signals of availability. Step 5. Touch. She'll find an excuse to lightly touch your arm or shoulder, letting you know it's okay to escalate. Once you learn to recognize these signals, it's like discovering a secret language. You're no longer guessing whether a woman is interested. She's telling you, loud and clear. Of course, your body language matters just as much. Research shows that dominant, open, and expansive body language makes men appear far more attractive. Take up space. Uncross your arms. Keep your shoulders back, and most importantly, maintain eye contact. A Loyola Marymount University study found that men who hold a woman's gaze are perceived as more intelligent, more confident, and more attractive. The book tells a wonderful story about Sean Connery's James Bond audition. The producers and author initially thought he was too rough for the part, but when he walked into the room, he moved with the smooth, self-assured grace of a panther. After he left, they watched from their office window as he walked down the street. He moved, as one producer recalled, as if he owned every bit of the street. That pure, non-verbal self-confidence won him the role. That's attractive body language. And then there's the smile. We're taught to smile constantly, to be friendly. But a fascinating study in the journal Emotion found that women are actually less attracted to men who smile all the time. They rated men with brooding and mysterious expressions as the most sexually attractive. Why? A constant smile can seem weak, like you're trying to win approval. A more neutral, brooding expression communicates masculinity and shows you're not easily manipulated. The book suggests using a subtle, impish smile, just a slight upturn at the corners of your mouth. It signals warmth and approachability without giving away your power. You remain a mystery. And maintaining that mystery is key to the next phase, building and deepening attraction. This is the dance of seduction. Canwell breaks it into 2 stages. First, contact, and the chase. In the beginning, it's natural for the man to pursue. He initiates contact, sets up dates, but the biggest mistake men make is never stopping the chase. A successful seduction requires a shift. At some point, you need to back off and let the woman start chasing you. If you're always texting first, always making plans, always expressing your feelings, you're communicating neediness. You're showing her you want the relationship more than she does. And that kills attraction. This is why the book warns against rushing the seduction process. The story of Vanessa and Eric is heartbreaking. They had incredible chemistry, but only a month in, Eric confesses his undying love and talks about settling down. To him, it felt romantic. To her, it was a red flag. His relationship focus signaled fundamental weakness. Soon after, she told him she needed space, and it was over. The same applies to investing too much too soon. Don't try to impress her with expensive dinners or lavish gifts. The unattractive man feels the need to impress. The attractive man knows his presence is enough. The secret is maintaining mystery. If you're texting for hours every day, discussing everything from childhood dreams to what you had for lunch, what's left to discover? You become predictable. And predictable is boring. The story of Ingrid, Ken, and Phil perfectly illustrates this. Ingrid meets two men. Ken is constantly available, texting good morning every day. He's sweet, responsive, and predictable. Phil is a mystery. He barely texts. He's elusive. When both men ask her out for Saturday night, Ken asked first. But Ingrid cancels on safe, predictable Ken to go out with mysterious Phil. She instinctively knew the less available man was the bigger prize. A University of Virginia study confirmed this. Women rated men in 3 categories: men who liked them, men who had no feelings for them, and men whose feelings were unknown. Who did they find most attractive? The men whose feelings were unknown. Uncertainty increases attraction. The more a woman wonders about you, the more she'll find you desirable. This dance continues with words and touch. Women are primarily auditory creatures. They have a weakness for words, but not just any words. Serious, logical talk about business or politics does nothing for attraction. It's about storytelling. Men who are good storytellers are perceived as having higher status and social intelligence. It shows you've lived an interesting life. The key is keeping your stories fluid and engaging, never boring or overly detailed. Then there's touch. Touch is one of the most powerful tools in seduction. Studies show that a simple, light touch on a woman's arm can dramatically increase compliance. Men asking for phone numbers or asking women to dance were far more successful when they included a brief touch. Why? Women in the study perceived the men who touched them as more confident. But the touch must be confident, never hesitant or clumsy. And you need to distinguish between playful, non-needy touch on the arm, shoulder, or back versus needy, clingy touch like constant hand-holding or hugging for comfort. The secure man doesn't seek a woman's touch for validation. So you've built the foundation, created the spark, and fanned the flames. How do you keep the fire alive long-term? This is the final and perhaps most challenging stage, maintaining attraction. The book opens this section with a harsh reality. Over 50% of marriages end in divorce, and women initiate about 70% of them. The main reason? Loss of attraction. The story of Ben and Irene serves as a warning. Ben was a player, skilled at seduction, but when he fell for Irene and decided to settle down, he changed. He became the perfect, attentive, relationship-focused husband. He bought her a house, constantly told her he loved her, and made her his #1 priority. What happened? She grew to feel contempt for him. He was no longer the strong, challenging man she fell for. He'd become weak and predictable. The relationship ended in disaster. This is the central paradox of long-term attraction. The very things that create comfort and security, predictability, constant reassurance, avoiding conflict, are often what kill desire. Attraction doesn't grow in safety, the author argues. It grows in a landscape of anxiety, fear, jealousy, and uncertainty. One of the most powerful principles for maintaining this tension is that attraction grows in space. In any relationship, both people need to maintain their individual identity. When two people merge into one, spending every moment together, the mystery dies. Desire fades. You need space to miss someone. You need distance to feel that magnetic pull. In long-term relationships, this means having separate hobbies, separate friends, and your own life outside the relationship. The book even suggests that occasionally sleeping in separate beds can powerfully reintroduce space and reignite a dying bedroom. Within that space, conflict is inevitable. A woman's emotions are like weather, they can change instantly. The fatal mistake men make is trying to fight emotion with logic. If a woman is sad or angry, you can't reason her into happiness. The more you try to fix her problems, the more she'll resist. Instead, you need to mirror her emotions. If she pulls away, you pull away. If she grows distant, you grow distant. This restores tension and prevents you from appearing weak and needy. And you must be prepared for tests. The book is clear. Women always test. It's not conscious or malicious. It's an ingrained biological program designed to constantly gauge your strength. She might use a bitch test, being intentionally rude or disrespectful to see if you'll tolerate it. The weak man gets angry or tries to reason with her. The strong man responds with humor or indifference or simply walks away. He doesn't play the game. She might use a jealousy test, casually mentioning another man who showed interest. The weak man becomes insecure and controlling. The strong man is unconcerned. He knows his value and isn't threatened. Passing these tests always comes back to one thing: choosing the strongest, most confident action, free from fear and insecurity. But what happens when attraction is already dying? When a woman has pulled away so far the relationship is hanging by a thread? This is where the book introduces its most potent and perhaps controversial strategy: inducing dread and uncertainty. This isn't about being cruel. It's about using psychological leverage to save a dying connection. The idea is triggering her fear of loss. Remember, the pain of losing something is far more powerful than the pleasure of gaining something. How do you do this? By suddenly becoming scarce. You might ignore her calls for a few days. You might talk about how much you miss being single. You might post a picture on social media with other attractive women. You start working out, buying new clothes, improving yourself for you, not for her. Suddenly, the man she took for granted is no longer guaranteed. He's become unpredictable, high value, and desirable again. This jolt of anxiety brings her focus back to you. Studies consistently show women are more attracted to men who put them into a slightly fearful or anxious state. One famous study found women rated men as more attractive right after getting off a roller coaster. That residual arousal from fear gets misattributed as attraction. Inducing dread works on the same principle. Ultimately, all these strategies, from building your body to handling tests to creating space, boil down to one single elusive quality: the X factor. And what is the X factor? It's attitude. It's the unshakable core of self-respect that informs everything you do. It's eliminating the need to be nice and embracing your own mission and purpose. The book explores the dark triad traits: narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy. Now, this doesn't mean becoming evil. It means adopting the functional aspects, being self-interested and putting your mission first, being assertive and going after what you want without apology, and being emotionally resilient and not getting derailed by other people's drama. Women aren't attracted to a man whose entire world revolves around her. They're attracted to a man who has his own world, his own purpose, and who invites her along for the ride. The man who fails with women seeks a relationship to give his life meaning. The man who succeeds finds meaning in his own life, and in doing so becomes utterly irresistible. Attraction isn't something you chase. It's something you become. As we wrap up our journey through atomic attraction, it's natural to feel a bit unsettled. The ideas in this book clash with so much of what we're told is right and proper. The notion that being less available, less responsive, and even a little selfish could be the key to a more passionate relationship, feels deeply counterintuitive, and, for some, even wrong. But dismissing it on those grounds would mean missing the profound wisdom at its core. This book isn't a manual for becoming heartless. If you read it that way, you've completely missed the point. At its heart, Atomic Attraction is about self-respect. It's a call for men to stop seeking validation from others and start building it from within. The strong body, the sharp clothes, the confident mindset. These aren't tricks to fool women. They're the external results of an internal commitment to becoming your best self. It's about understanding that your value doesn't come from a woman's approval. Your value is inherent, and it's your job, and yours alone, to cultivate it. The book's philosophy is challenging because it asks us to embrace uncomfortable truths about human nature. It forces us to acknowledge that attraction and love aren't the same thing. Attraction is raw and primal. It responds to strength, challenge, and mystery. Love, on the other hand, can grow from that attraction. It's about comfort, safety, and connection. The mistake so many make is trying to start with love, offering comfort and safety up front, and in doing so, smothering the very spark of attraction needed to ignite the fire. In a world increasingly confused about what it means to be a man, this book offers a clear, if sometimes stark, roadmap back to confident, authentic masculinity. It's not about dominating women, it's about leading your own life with such purpose and integrity that a woman feels compelled to join you. It's about moving from being a passenger in your love life to confidently taking the wheel. So how can you start applying these powerful ideas in your own life, starting today? Let me offer 3 simple actions. First, start with the physical. For the next 30 days, commit to a consistent workout routine. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just show up. Do this not to get a six-pack or impress anyone, but to feel the simple power of keeping a promise to yourself. True confidence begins with physical strength because it's tangible proof that you can endure discomfort for a greater goal. Second, practice the art of doing nothing. Next time you feel that jolt of anxiety because someone didn't text back immediately or canceled plans, resist the urge to fix it. Don't send another message. Don't ask if everything's okay. Just sit with that feeling of uncertainty. Observe it. Realize it won't break you. This is the first step toward mastering emotional resilience and showing you don't need anyone else's response to feel secure. And third, most importantly, define your mission. Spend 1 hour this week, just 1 hour, with a pen and paper, and write down what you want to achieve in your life that has absolutely nothing to do with a relationship. What skills do you want to master? What adventures do you want to have? What impact do you want to make? A man with a mission has purpose, and a man with purpose is the most attractive man of all. That was a deep dive into Atomic Attraction by Christopher Canwell. We've explored the core principles today, but I'll be honest, a summary, no matter how detailed, is like looking at a photograph of a magnificent feast. You can see the colors and shapes, but you can't taste the food. The real magic happens when you read the book yourself. It's in those quiet moments when a particular story or simple phrase connects with your own experiences in unexpected ways. This summary is a map, but the book is the journey. If anything we've talked about today has struck a chord with you, I encourage you to grab a copy. Reading it isn't just about learning tactics. It's an experience that can genuinely change how you see yourself and your place in the world. The link to the book is in the description below. Also, if you found value in our time together today, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It lets me know these journeys are worthwhile and ensures you won't miss our next exploration into another life-changing book. Let's keep growing together.